And tonight on Connecticut's news station, more frustrations over skyrocketing utility bills. It's something Fox 61 has been covering extensively. And tonight, for the first time, our Matt Karen takes your questions to the power companies. We'll hear what they had to say and who they're blaming.
And we have a weather impact alert because we wanted to give you a heads up about this thunderstorm in northern Hartford County. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 6:15, but most of the state's dry. What's going on? Your full forecast coming up. And 5 people facing
After Mr. Perry died, these defendants tried to cover up what they've done.
5 people facing charges in connection to the death of Friends star Matthew Perry. We're getting a look at their relationship to the actor.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Sarah Sanchez.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. Fox 61 has been holding officials accountable for the sizable increase to your energy bill, and tonight is no different.
Fox 61's Matt Karen has asked the tough questions to politicians, and now we're talking with the utility companies. Matt, what's their explanation?
Perhaps unsurprisingly, the utility companies are blaming lawmakers and regulators. Let's break it down. Behind me are sample bills from both United Illuminating and Eversource. You used to have just 2 categories, supply and delivery. Now they've broken it down into 4, supply, transmission, delivery, and yes, that controversial public benefits charge. It's nothing you weren't paying for before. Now you can just see it. And here's the thing, it's tied to usage, which during the hot summer months goes up. Bills are high.
This bill, that's going to break my bank.
Going higher.
I'm mad as hell.
People are angry.
Why the am I paying this?
39,000 people like that have signed this petition demanding the state cancel the public benefits charge.
We certainly understand the frustration that customers are feeling.
There's a lot of confusion.
For the first time, we're hearing directly from Eversource and United Illuminating. They say it's the fault of politicians and regulators.
More than a year ago, we had let regulators know that the rates that they had set did not reflect the actual cost of those programs.
This is the result of laws and policy that our legislators have made.
Eversource and UI claim that rather than paying the cost of the programs that the state mandated in full, they kicked the can down the road. Now the bill is due during a record hot month where usage is up.
It is an increase that no other state in this region is seeing.
So what is the public benefits charge? It's a series of public policy decisions spread across customer bills that includes costs for things like nuclear power purchase agreements, operating the electric grid, renewable energy programs, efficiency programs, and yes, a collection of $180 million in unpaid bills made worse by a 4-year ban on customer shutoffs due to the pandemic.
Make no mistake about it. This is the largest increase ever within the public benefits portion of the bill.
For July, that public benefits charge for Eversource and UI customers increased by $866 million.
None of that money, while collected by us as well as Eversource, none of it stays with us.
It's what's called a pass-through charge, something the utilities don't profit from.
This kind of has exposed the fact that, wow, maybe 20-25% of my bill is going to public policies. What are those policies? Who passed them? And, how am I benefiting?
Now, bills should start to level out when the public benefits increase is paid for in about 10 months. But in the meantime, people are threatening to boycott their bills and protest their politicians. In the studio, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Matt, thank you. Time now for a check on the forecast. A nice summer day outside, but some areas might be seeing some rain.
Yeah, still humid out there. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us. Hi, Rachel.
Hi. A lot of the state is dry right now, but we have a weather impact alert for this one thunderstorm that has a warning for another 15 minutes or so. They may end up dropping it early just because the storm is losing a little bit of its intensity, but it was previously producing some hail along with some very vivid lightning, and it still is producing some heavy heavy rain right now as well. This is located, looks like still in parts of Windsor Locks and East Windsor, and it's moving south into South Windsor, and it is just crawling along to the south at about 20 miles an hour. That would put it into Manchester, heading closer to 6:30, and a little bit after that, 6:35 in Glastonbury. But I think with this one, I don't think it'll pulse back up again. We're just looking at a locally heavier downpour or rumble of thunder. The big storms really here today that have been widespread, look at all this lightning and heavy rain, have just missed us. So an isolated shower or thunderstorm through the evening tonight. Meantime, it is nice and dry and sunny in Hartford and New Haven. You can see where it's rained by looking at the temperatures. Cooler in the eastern half of the state and warmer for central and western Connecticut. So a hit or miss shower or storm through about 8 o'clock or so. Overnight lows in the lower to middle 60s. And tomorrow looks warm and humid with highs in the mid and upper 80s. We'll time out another chance for showers over the weekend, but it's not all bad coming up, guys.
Okay, Rachel, talk soon. Thank you. Hartford police investigating a shooting that happened on Hungerford Street. Police say a man in his 20s was shot around 1:30 this afternoon. He ran from the scene and was later found on Broad Street. He was taken to the hospital and at last check was listed in critical condition. Police still investigating what led up to that shooting. Police also in Hartford investigating a second shooting from last night. Police say a man with a gunshot wound walked into the hospital just before 7:30 with non-life-threatening injuries. He told officers he was shot on Martin Street. No word on any suspects or arrests. Anyone with any information is asked to call the Hartford Police Department.
We now know the name of the motorcyclist who died in a crash in Simsbury. Police say James Ferreira collided with another vehicle at the intersection of Hartford Avenue and Main Street on Tuesday. Ferreira was taken to the hospital where he died. The driver of the other vehicle stayed on scene and is cooperating with police. Well, it's been 2 days since Connecticut's primary elections, and most of the races are now set for November.
We now know what those ballots will look like, and Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst spoke with the winner of one of the most watched primaries, which of course is the Republican contest for U.S. Senate, taking on Senator Murphy. Emma, tell us about your conversation today.
Yeah, Bridget, Sarah, I spoke earlier this afternoon with Matthew Corey. With low voter turnout in primaries, the state GOP says this race was really all about who voters knew. And now that Corey's officially become the Republican nominee, he wants to make sure all residents know who he is and the reasons he's running.
When you still have open borders and you can let over 5,000 people come across the border, and then you give the president emergency powers to shut down that border, you can shut that border down after one person. The problem is there's catch and release. There's no border security. There's an H.R. 2 bill sitting on Senator Schumer's desk that should be passed today. What does that mean? If you're waiting for asylum, wait for it in the nearest country next to your country before you come into the United States. Why should taxpayers pay for that 5 to 7 years down the road while they're waiting for asylum? Our communities are not safe unless you back law enforcement. And I don't know where Senator Murphy's community lives in, but there's a lot of communities that you see of a lot of shootings around that are happening in Connecticut. East Haven police are being attacked. We need to support law enforcement, give them the tools they need to keep our communities safe. We need to support ICE, and we need to support the federal law enforcement working with state and local officials to remove people that are committing heinous crimes in this country.
Obviously, every field, will have those who aren't following the rules, and we have seen cases in law enforcement where officers are not doing their job correctly. Where is the line for you when it comes to, you say supporting law enforcement, but also is there a line there then for prosecuting those who aren't doing the job correctly?
Well, that's where they have internal affairs.
When it comes to abortion and abortion medications, what do you believe on that issue?
I do not stand with a nationwide abortion ban or a federal ban. I stand with the citizens of the state of Connecticut. The law is settled here in the state of Connecticut. I stand with its citizens.
So, which we have heard, I've heard at least from a lot of Republican candidates as well as state legislators, that really seems to be the platform here, is keeping this a states' rights issue. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
And you can watch our entire conversation this Sunday morning at 10 on The Real Story, our weekly policy show right here on Fox 61 and streaming on Fox 61 Plus. Sarah, Bridget.
All right, great conversation there, Emma. Thank you. We'll be watching on Sunday. President Biden and Vice President Harris holding an official event today to speak about lowering drug costs for Americans.
The economy is still a top issue for voters ahead of the presidential election. Fox's Connor Hansen has the story.
I could speak all afternoon about the person that I am standing on this stage with.
President Biden and Vice President Harris appeared in Maryland for their first joint speaking event since Biden announced he was no longer running. While it looked like another campaign rally for Harris, it was an official White House event about drug prices. The president announced they have negotiated lower costs for 10 major Medicare drugs.
Under the law I signed, Medicare can negotiate lower prices for another 15 drugs next year, 15 the following, and 20 after that till every drug is covered. That's the law now.
It comes as the economy remains top of mind with voters. A recent Fox News poll finding many still give the economy and their personal finances negative ratings. Donald Trump focused on the issue at a rally on Wednesday.
Vote Trump and your incomes will soar, your savings will grow, young people will be able to afford a home, and we will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
On his way to the event, President Biden was asked if Harris would continue his economic policies.
All those legislation you passed is working, in case you haven't noticed.
This comes as both campaigns agreed to 2 presidential debates and one between the vice presidential candidates. The first between Harris and Trump will be on September 10th. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Former President Donald Trump's asking the judge in his hush money criminal case to delay his sentencing until after the election. Lawyers say sentencing Trump as scheduled on September 18th, about 7 weeks before Election Day, would be election interference. The judge, who has said he's confident in his ability to remain fair and impartial, did not immediately rule on the delay request.
Law enforcement officials say they have arrested 5 people in connection with the death of Friends star Matthew Perry. The actor died back in October after an apparent drowning in his hot tub at his home in Los Angeles. He was 54 years old, but his autopsy released in December showed trace amounts of ketamine in his stomach. So who's responsible? We will have much more on who was arrested and their relationship to Perry. That's coming up on the news at 6:30.